Hello, 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 my YouTube family. How are you today? Happy Juneteenth. You knew I was going to come on with something about that because I am a sister girl and I am a Southern Belle. Thank you so much for joining me. Kiss up to God. To God be the glory for all the wonderful works that He does. Thank you, God, for another do over. Thank you, God, for another day to get it right. Thank you, God, for another day above ground. Thank you, God, for this day of celebration, this unknown Independence Day that even our people, some of our people don't even realize, don't recognize, I don't even really know about. Lord, use me to bring forth what it's all about and what it entails, because this is a very special day for former enslaved our ancestors. um, and I'm grateful that I'm allowed, and I'm grateful that I have this platform to talk about it. All right, guys. um, we're gonna talk about Juneteenth, and I think people think that the I think they're getting it kind of wrong. They think it's the Emancipation Proclamation was what freed the slaves, but it's what started it with our former president Abraham Lincoln. But it was actually he did the proclamation really to end the Civil War. He wanted to end the Confederacy's chances of gaining independence recognition. It was a political move and a militant move, for even for enslaved people to join the Union. So he did start what now is Juneteenth, but the 13th Amendment is what really freed the slaves. Late Abraham Lincoln started it because if the if that really freed the slaves, then why was some of the states still enslaved? Delaware, Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri was still under the Confederate. They were still loyal to the Confederate, and the slaves there were not free. So it also lets you know how important voting is, because see, your Senate and your Congress overrides the president. The president is the president, but he can get vetoed. That's why it's very important for you to vote on your House, your Senate, your mayors, your governors. Very important, because they override the president. He's honestly just the president. He has rights. He gives the executive orders, but they control everything else. The late Dr. Miles Monroe stated, it's not the system that's crooked or not good. It's the people running it. Stay woke. Stay woke, because they're trying to take us back. They are really turning some of our laws back over. And if you're not paying attention, we're gonna lose out on a lot of things that it took our people over 200 years to gain. So let me just read a little bit about that. It says, on the eve of January 1st, 1863, the first watch night service took place. On that night, enslaved and free African Americans gathered in churches and private homes all across the country, awaiting the Emancipation Proclamation. See that it had taken effect. At the stroke of midnight, their prayers were answered. All enslaved people in the Confederate States were declared legally free. The Confederate States, not under the no, not Delaware, not Maryland, not Kentucky, not Missouri. But with the 13th Amendment, the slaves throughout the United States were free then, but it wasn't implemented until the 13th Amendment. So I think a lot of people get that confused. It's the 13th Amendment that did that for us. The westernmost Confederate states of Texas, now this is where our Juneteenth came from, of Texas, enslaved people were not free until much later. Their freedom didn't come until June 19th, 1865. See, Lincoln signed in 1963. The Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 63, but the 13th Amendment came in 65. That's when all the slaves were free. It says the Union soldiers, many who were black, marched on plantations and across cities in the South, reading small copies and spreading the news of freedom in the Confederate States. That's when they started. Galveston Bay, Texas. The Army announced that more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state were free by executive decree. This day became known as Juneteenth by the new free slaves. By the newly freed people in Texas. The emancipation period known as the Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, marked the era of great hope, uncertainty, and struggle for the nation as a whole. Former slaves sought to reunite families, establish schools, run for political office, and sue slave owners for their compensation. Given the 200 years of enslavement, such changes noted short of amazing. Not a generation out of slavery of African Americans were inspired or empowered to transform their lives in this country. June 19th marks our country's Personal Independence Day. This event remains largely unknown to most Americans, which is true. That's why I titled The Unknown Independence Day. The colors are red, white, and blue, like Independence Day, but it's a star, and the star represents the 5 points in Texas. But this is what we do. And it said the Proclamation 95, the executive order officially reigned all 3.5 million African American slaves living in the South to be free. Now, as I stated, that's why voting is so important. That's why you cannot sit down on the government. You cannot sit down on what happened over 200 years ago for the enslaved. They're not us. And don't say, oh, that's not me, but they were our ancestors. And I remember we had a meeting one day at school, and we were talking, and it was a mixture. We had people from all over the country. And one lady stood up and said, well, when I came to this country, I had it hard because I really didn't speak the English, the language, and things were rough, and and now I have this, and that. And she was speaking to me personally, like, she had a heart. So I stood up and said, when my ancestors were brought here against their will, with nothing, worked for nothing, was murdered, raped, belittled, tormented. I say, and still to this day, we as a Black people deal with racism all over the place, all the time, and still are getting murdered, raped, belittled. And if y'all don't open your eyes, they want to take us back to that. Stay woke. Don't allow this day to be in vain. Juneteenth is an important day for our ancestors that were enslaved to now. We might not be enslaved. We might have a wage. We might be working, but some things are still the same. So don't think it's not. Don't sit there and think, oh, it's not. And don't think that they're not working behind the scenes to try to overturn. They've already overturned stuff. Read. Educate yourself. Vote. I will be talking more about that as we get closer to the elections. But stay woke. There are events going on. I know there's something going on in Atlantic City that I'm definitely gonna be out there today. Something is going on in different areas that's celebrating this day. Free. You know, I like those words, free and sale. So I will be heading out to the city to enjoy the celebration of Juneteenth and celebrate it. Be proud that our people fought for their freedom. Be proud that because of our ancestors, we are free. And all of this was orchestrated by the one and only, the source, because God is not through. He has so much more in store for us as a people. We have to come together. He's given us the avenues. He's given us the pathway. We have to come together as a people. No jealousy, no fight, no bickering. Come together as a people. Build back up our communities. Every time we built communities, every time we built something for ourselves, it was destroyed. Look at Black Wall Street. I'm not even going to go into all that. What they did every time Black people, they didn't want to sell us stuff. They didn't want us in their towns. They didn't want us mixed in with them. So we had our own. And every time we had our own, they came in and they destroyed it. They demolished it. So please stay woke. And please go out today and enjoy Juneteenth. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you feel like somebody needs to share this, or if you think somebody don't really know about what's behind Juneteenth and how it took 2 years from 1963, from the signing to 1965 to the 13th Amendment, really to get it, to get all of us free, share it. Thank you for joining me. Keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep liking. If you want to comment. And you can fact check my stuff. Don't just take my word for it. And I'm not giving you everything. I'm just, like I said, I just give you a little bit. And if you want to know more, go and research for yourself. Educate yourself. Educate your children. Okay, my name is Jennifer Brooks. I am your Southern Belle, and I am on the right road now. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to join me on Instagram. I'm up there too talking. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed day. Happy Juneteenth and enjoy this Independent Day.